Hello and welcome back to the SPFL predictions for the 25-26 season. We're now moving on to the championship. I realised the League one went on for quite a bit longer than I was hoping for, so I'm going to try and get through this one a wee bit quicker if I can, try and spend a bit less time on each team, but I'll still hopefully be able to get all my points across in terms of who I think is going to be finishing where. I did mention obviously when I did the first prediction that my League Two predictions were garbage. My League One ones were okay. My Championship one wasn't bad either. I'm hoping that that stays true. I'm hoping that my Championship predictions prove to be perhaps a little better than last time, but I will also at the end of this go over my predictions for the promotion playoffs from League One. Of course, if you haven't seen who I had to be promoted from there or to be in the playoff spots, feel free to go back and watch that before you come back to this one to see the predictions here at the end. But we will obviously be moving on as we normally do and starting as we did from 10, moving to 1.
Just to interject very quickly, the filming of all of this took place on Wednesday, the 30th of July, which was obviously 2 days before the championship season started. I forgot that the championship season was going to start on the Friday, so when I was uploading the video on this Friday, I completely forgot that that game would have already taken place. Obviously, we've seen the full time scoreline of Arbroath 1, Ayr United 1. Which kind of scuppers my predictions a little bit, as you'll come to see in this video. But yeah, so it's just to make you aware of the fact that this was not filmed pre that post that game. It was pre that game, despite the fact that the video is going up much later. So yeah, enjoy the rest of it.
I'd like to say I'm switching up the format and the way I'm doing this, but I'm just going to have all of them look the exact same way because I'm boring and the production quality is pretty poor, as you can tell by the really shoddy camera quality that I'm dealing with here. But yes, so in at number 10, starting off as we do, getting relegated from the Championship to League One next season, Queen's Park. I do not see them doing anything at all. They had a pretty standard League Cup performance. I think that it is surprising that they were able to get the results that they did. I watched them on opening day. I mentioned that I went to see Spartans Queen's Park on opening day. They were thoroughly underwhelming and disappointing. And, despite the fact that they were the team that took the lead, they never looked like they were offering anything particularly going forward. I thought they were quite disappointing. Then obviously Brecon City, you expect them to beat Brecon City. They lose to Falkirk, and then they beat Cove. And I don't really know how they managed to beat Cove because I think that Cove are a better team than they are. But like I say, I was only able to watch that one back. I didn't see that one live, so I can't really make a proper assessment, I suppose, on that one. But for me, I think that they've got a really weak squad. They have they have quite a leaky defence. I think that they don't really warrant. I think when you're conceding 2 goals a game, if we take out of account the Brecon City result, which was obviously a 5-0, you're conceding 2 goals a game while scoring just over one and a third a game. It's not a great track record when you look at, because they're not going to be playing against Brecon City, is my point, and that's the only reason I'm discounting it. They're going to be playing against teams like a Cove Rangers. They're going to be playing maybe not even like a Falkirk quality team, but they are going to be playing that level. And when you're scoring just over one and conceding two per game, it's not a good track record. And I think that just for me, not a good enough team. 10th place, they're going straight back down. Or I say straight back down. They've been up for a few years. Straight down though, for me. 10th place, Queen's Park. In at number 9, I'm putting Arbroath. Now, Arbroath was an interesting one. I put them here solely because of the teams above them. I don't think they're a particularly bad team. I just don't think that they're at a championship level team, to be honest. I don't see them staying up here. I think that they're a little inconsistent in terms of the results. For me as well, they've not got a great strength going forward, but similarly, they're also not great in defence either. So I feel like when you're lacking on both those fronts, it's kind of the same issues as Queen's Park. To be honest, I think that they're not in a great position right now, and yeah, for me, are both in ninth place just because I don't think they offer that much. In eighth place, and just about avoiding relegation, I'm putting Wraith Rovers, who will be looking at the sacking from a couple of years ago as an atrocious one. The fact that they were able to get into the playoffs and then sack their manager is beyond baffling. I think everybody said at the time it was a stupid decision, and then last season they were pretty subpar. This year, they look even worse for me. Again, just looking at what I've seen from them in terms of the League Cup groups and stuff like that, they haven't done enough. They're very inconsistent, and they had a very poor League Cup campaign. I think that obviously they had a relatively well balanced group as well. Inverness, East Kilbride, Elgin City. You'd argue that Wraith should be beating the bottom two comfortably, and then maybe a result against Inverness. Now they managed to get the result against Inverness, but that late collapse against East Kilbride was worrying. Like how you are leading that game to then collapse so dramatically feels just a bit, insane to me. So yeah, for me, I'm looking at this Wraith Rovers team as just too inconsistent, not good enough. Yes, they finished second in the group. I don't think, I don't think it's enough. If I'm honest, I don't think they've got enough, and that maybe is a bit harsh. But for me, Wraith just don't have enough for me, so I'm having them to finish eighth in the league. Seventh place, I'm putting Dunfermline. I think that they look better under Neil Lennon than they have done in previous years. They've made some signings which are quite interesting, which seem to have strengthened the squad in the right places. I think that the reason they're in the position that they're in is just because they're not as good as the rest of the league. They're certainly not a Premiership team anymore, but that's not to say that they can't become a Premiership team. I mean, there's definitely a possibility there for them to continue to improve and to continue to grow over the years, and perhaps in a couple of years' time we could see them back in the Scottish Premiership. Who knows? But for me, right now, they're a bottom half team certainly. But I don't think a relegation threatened bottom half team. I think Neil Lennon has done a good job with them, and I think he will continue to do so. So for me, Dunfermline, despite quite a good League Cup campaign as well, but I think that given Hearts the wee scare that they did on opening day, you then need to go into the rest of your games and go, we just need to get the results and hope we can go through. And the fact that they've only just fallen short because of the Ayr United St Mirren result is a wee shame for them. But it is how it is, and they're unfortunate not to go through. But at the end of the day, they did well, and they, I feel like seventh place is more than fair for them. In sixth place, I've put Airdrieonians. Now, I saw Airdrieonians against Alloa. I did mention that in the last video. I thought that Airdrie looked a really exciting team. I thought they were playing some nice football. I thought they were looking quite good. Certainly looking much better than they did last year, and arguably better than they did when they were in League One, in all honesty. I saw them a fair bit when they were in League One. I didn't think much of them. They look quite good now. I think they've had a really good League Cup campaign. Obviously, that final day against Alloa, I thought they were the better team. There were as well, and I didn't mention this in the last one, there were some suspect decisions. For example, Airdrieonians having the goal ruled out and then the linesman's flag going up about 10 seconds after the ball hit the back of the net. The celebration was completed. They were making their way back to the halfway line, and then the flag went up. So I was genuinely astounded. But there was a lot of poor officiating going on in that game. But at the end of the day, whilst Airdrie were the better team, whilst they were a bit shafted by some poor officiating, Alloa were able to get the job done. And I think that that's why Airdrie will do no better than sixth, because they're just not a team that's going to be able to get the job done. They're just not at that level, I think. And they'll do enough to sit in the mid-table. But again, they could finish from anywhere between ninth and sixth, in my opinion. I don't think they'll go higher than that, but I think that they'll finish sixth. And I think they'll certainly be recovering from just about avoiding relegation last year. In fifth place, I'm putting Ross County. Now, here's the thing. I know a lot of people are saying that Ross County are basically a shoe-in for the title. They're saying it's going to be between them and St Johnstone for the title. And I look at this Ross County team and I don't feel like they're good enough. I look at this Ross County team and I see a team that was severely underperforming in the Premiership for a number of years and was lucky to stay up year after year after year. That, to me, was Hamilton Accies. And when Hamilton Accies went down, they went down hard. Everyone said they were going to come, they were going to back up in amongst it and compete. No, they went down hard. And I don't think they're going to go down hard because they have kept the hold of some key players. I know that Ronan Hale's still in there. They've had, some relatively strong recruitments. They've signed a couple of good players, but I think that they've not really kicked on. And again, from what I've seen of them when they played against Queen of the South, for example, the Partick Thistle game, I didn't see enough from them at all. There is something missing, and I think at this level is different from the Premiership. I think that the way that Premiership teams play, as opposed to the way the Championship in League One and whatever teams play, is very stark difference. And I just don't think that County have it in them to be able to match up to that. So for me, they're fifth place. I don't think that they are. I think they're going to have a really, really poor year by their standards, and they're going to sit in fifth place for me. In fourth place and taking the first of the playoff spots, I'm putting Greenock Morton. I think that Morton have had a fantastic League Cup campaign. I think that they've done really, really well, and they're generally speaking just good on all fronts. Like I say, if we compare the League Cup campaign to how some of these other teams are performing, 10 goals scored and 5 conceded in 4 games. Now, keeping in mind, that's 3 wins and a loss in their League Cup campaigns. The 3-0 loss to Motherwell being a part of that. Now, obviously, Motherwell Premiership opposition. I think that when you're conceding 2 goals across the other 3 games against Clyde, Stenhousemuir, and Peterhead, whilst also managing to score 10 across those 3 games as well, that's what you need to do to be at this level. Now, obviously, it's Clyde, Stenhousemuir, and Peterhead. They're far lower down. They're not at the quality they should be. But for me, they're doing what a lot of the other teams aren't, which is looking at some of these smaller teams and saying, we need to just set the example now, prove the point. I think a great, League Cup campaign. I think they look really good on all fronts. And I think that they were, especially towards the back end of last season, they were really improving. They were really getting quite strong and they were pushing. And I think that if they can continue with that form, continue as they're going on, I think that they could do some great things. So for me, I'm putting Morton in fourth place and a possibility of getting them up into the Premiership next year. Who knows? You'll find out in the next one. Third place, and I'm sorry to say, Scott Brown's Ayr United are finishing in third place. Again, a brilliant League Cup campaign, absolutely fantastic, doing everything they need to do, ticking all the right boxes for the same reason that Morton are going to be quite high up. I'm going to say that Ayr United are quite high up as well. But I would argue that Ayr are better. 14 goals scored across 4 games. Now, normally when you're scoring 14 goals across 4 games, you're thinking, oh, okay, that's going to be, it's going to be an interesting campaign because they're going to be conceding lots of goals and stuff as well. But no, 3 goals conceded, 2 of them to St Mirren. So realistically speaking, you're conceding 1 goal against Arbroath, Forfar and Annan. Now again, same as Morton, these are the lower end teams. You're not expecting these teams to be able to compete with the likes of an Ayr United. But as a team like Ayr United, you need to set that marker. You need to say, listen, this is how we're going to do. This is how we're going to perform. They've done well under Scott Brown so far. They have a ridiculously strong defence. They had a great League Cup campaign and they were unlucky against St Mirren on the final day. The possibility of going a perfect run in the League Cup groups when you've got the group you have, when you've got a team like St Mirren in there, that's insanely good. And when you go away to St Mirren and not only hold your own, but come so fractionally close to snatching and grabbing a result, that is brilliant from an Ayr United perspective. So for me, Ayr in third, but the only reason I've not got them higher is just I think there's too much quality in the 2 teams that remain. So finally speaking, I'm going to talk about the top 2. And again, same as before, I'm not going to cut between the 2 of them. I'm just going to go from one to the other. Second place, I'm putting St Johnstone. Now, I know this is brave because the only people that are putting St Johnstone second are the people that are putting Ross County in first. And I've got Ross County fifth. I think that St Johnstone will be by far and away one of the best teams in this league. They will walk this league to so much of a degree that I think that the gap between second and third is going to be enormous. That being said, the gap between first and second is going to be marginal. It is going to come down to the final day of the season, as it has done the last couple of years. It's going to come down to the final day of the season because Partick Thistle in first place just look different. They have strength across the board. I think that St Johnstone were too strong a team, too good a team to go down. I think that, they're in a position where they could have and probably should have done a lot more in the position that they were in. But I think that for me, I look at that St Johnstone team and I think that they are remarkably strong. Similarly, having seen that Partick Thistle team, they look composed, they look calm, they look focused, they look well drilled and well organised, and they just have strength across the board. I think that the fact is that Partick Thistle won Group B at a canter, at an absolute canter. They conceded 2 goals and scored 11 across the 4 games. The 2 goals they conceded, one to Ross County, obviously championship opposition, away to Ross County, might I add, up in Dingwall, and the other one away to Edinburgh City. Now, perhaps that means that they're maybe going to be a bit leaky away from home, but 2 clean sheets at home against potential banana skins in Stranraer and Queen of the South. Yeah, who knows? That's an interesting take. St Johnstone as well, obviously with another perfect record, did finish with a better perfect record purely on the goal difference perspective, but again, only conceding goals against, some surprising outfits. They've conceded 2 goals, they've scored 15. They do look slightly better going forward. But I think when it comes down to it, the organisation, the structure that is in place at Partick Thistle, from what I've seen, will be stronger than the organisation, the structure that's in place at St Johnstone. And I think that Partick Thistle are going to snatch it. I think it's going to come right down to the wire, and I think that Partick Thistle will take that top spot. So I'm going to say St Johnstone in second, Partick Thistle top. But I would like to preface this with it could go either way. I know that the top two will be those two. I just don't know which order they're going to be in. My prediction is Partick Thistle, St Johnstone, but it could just as easily go the other way. But I'm confident that that's going to be the top two. I'm confident that that's going to be the top two. And if I'm made to look stupid for that, whoops. Oh, okay. So on to the playoffs now, and the playoffs for me are both in 9th place in the championship, taking on Alloa, who are obviously in 4th in League One. You've then got Cali Thistle against Cove. For me, it's going to be interesting. I think that between Arbroath and Alloa, I fully believe in Alloa's ability to get the job done, and I don't believe in Arbroath's ability to hold off. So for me, Alloa will knock Arbroath out and send them back down to League One, meaning we'll have a new team in the Championship. Who will that be? Well, who will Alloa play in the next round? It'll be between Cali Thistle and Cove, and for me, Cove snatch it. They've got the stronger team on paper. They look well drilled. When I saw them in the playoffs last year, they looked really, really strong and really, really capable, and they were unfortunate not to go up into the Championship. I think that this will be the year. I think that Queen of the South win League One, and Cove Rangers will go up with them. Because I think that Cove will then beat Alloa in that final. Because again, they're well drilled, they look organised, they were unfortunate not to win last time. So Cove will beat Cali Thistle, and then they will beat Alloa in the next round as well. So for me, that is the way it's going to go. I think that it'll be unfortunate from an Alloa perspective, it'll be unfortunate from an ICT perspective, but Arbroath, I think, just won't have enough in them to get up. So that's my predictions. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you want to send me abuse in the comments or on TikTok or whatever? If you want to do that, there are links in the description where you can go and do that. Do you want to agree with me? Do you want to sit there and say, you know what? That's a well thought out, structured, organised league table that makes a lot of sense? Or do you want to look at me and say, you've got Ross County in 5th, you absolute donkey, what are you doing? Okay, feel free to come back to me in 6 months and throw this in my face and call me an idiot, because well, I kind of expected that, to be honest. It was going to happen. So yeah, feel free to do so. However, please do like and subscribe and share and everything if you agree or if you disagree. But, I'm always happy for this thing because I feel like everything should be open for debate. So feel free to come in and tell me that I'm an idiot. Consider it an open invitation. But I will see you for my Premiership prediction video, which will come tomorrow. But I'm filming today, but it's going to come tomorrow. It's not actually that confusing.